Hello Cozy Gamers and welcome back to the Cozy Gaming Club where we play all the latest and greatest cozy games. I'm Ellie and today we're taking a look at my first week in Amber Isle, which is coming out very soon. In case you don't know, Amber Isle is a kind of dinosaur shop management game where you take over the local store. You'll have to gather resources and craft items that you can sell, which you can then use your profits to revitalize the town. It'll be launching on the 10th of October on PC and the 31st of October on Switch. Now, if you want to find out what the first 2 hours of the gameplay were like, you can watch that here where I live streamed it, or I thought I'd crop it up into this shorter video for you to enjoy if you don't like watching longer streams. Let's get started! Before we dive into the game, it is time to design our paleo folk, the dinosaur that we want to be on this adventure. Now, Amber Isle may have one of the best character creators that I have ever seen in a game. You can customize tiny, minute details that I would never have considered, like how long your tongue is and what color you want your claws to be. There are template characters that you can choose or use as a base, and then you can really dig in and change every single aspect of your character, from the colors to the different styles of the body parts and even the designs they have on them. It takes me a little while to decide who I want to be, but I finally settle on this adorable pink and yellow bird dinosaur and proceed with the game. Our tale begins as we set out on an adventure, a paleo venture, which is a rite of passage undertaken by all paleo folk to explore the world and meet new people. It sounds really cute, kind of like a gap year, but ours gets off to a terrible start. While leaning over the edge of the basket to check out the beautiful island below our hot air balloon, I overstretch myself and take a little tumble. I crashed into the cozy cottage I had just been looking at, making it even more dilapidated than it already was. Fortunately, 2 dinosaurs weren't far away and rushed to my rescue. One of them was very kind and just glad that I'm okay, while the other was incredibly rude. Mayor, of course they're the mayor, Clawsworth, is not impressed with me and demands that I pay 50,000 amber to cover the damages. So I pretend to have concussion. Unfortunately, he saw right through my ruse and stormed out angrily, demanding that the whole place is patched up by the next morning. Maple was kind enough to stay behind to help me though. She suggested I collect some wood from around the shop, and then she taught me how to craft wooden planks to cover up the hole. I got that done in a jiffy and she flew up to the roof to fix it. We were just talking about how I'm a crafting legend when we found a shopkeep journal. This usually contains loads of recipes for a shopkeeper to make, but sadly mine is empty apart from a woven basket. But Maple's basket had just broken that morning, and she was in need of a new one, so she asked me to craft it for her. It took me no time at all and she was delighted with her new basket. She gave me 100 amber in return and then showed me where the bedroom is so I could get a good night's sleep. I guess this is my home now. Before I hit the sack, Maple tells me about how boring it is in Amber Isle, and how me arriving is the most exciting thing that's happened in a long time. I suppose I literally fell out of the sky. It doesn't get much more exciting than that. But I couldn't wait to turn this quiet town around. Day 1 bloomed bright and early the next morning and I awoke to a knock on my door. It was Mayor Clawsworth. He was pleased to see that I'd fixed up the hole in the roof, which I guess means I no longer owe him 50,000 amber. Phew. Then Maple raced in to tell me how she'd used my new basket on her route this morning, and everyone was talking about it. She said if they want to know more, they should come here, and this is where my business empire started. Thanks, Maple. Which is also when Mayor Clawsworth got dollar signs in his eyes. He explained that while I had fixed the roof so I no longer had to pay for the repairs, I had still destroyed Amber Isle property, a historic building no less, and I had been trespassing. For the laws that I'd broken, he'd be issuing me with a fine of 500,000 amber. Even Maple looked shocked. I tried to explain that I'd lost my wallet when I fell out of the hot air balloon, but he didn't believe me. Apparently, someone else had already used that excuse, which left only one option. But before he could kick me out, someone else showed up. Mr. Bureaucracy, as the mayor called him, was delighted to finally put their conflict resolution course to good use, and even more delighted to see that the mayor had already found a new shopkeeper. The mayor vehemently denied it, but the new dinosaur was pretty insistent. And before long, I had a new job and my own personal trainer called Addy. They worked for Orb Corp and had been sent to Amber Isle to revitalize it. He was so excited that I was opening a new shop and wanted to include it in his first report. The mayor was not happy about it, but we won him over and now I get to stay. But I would need to prove that I was actually as talented as I said I was by earning 20,000 in shop sales to show the mayor. Hopefully I'll be able to do that by the end of the 7 days, but we'll just have to wait and see. After that, it was finally time to leave the shop and see Amber Isle for the first time. It looked a little worse for wear, but nothing we can't fix up, and the town square was so cute, including my rundown shop, which looked even worse from the ground. It turns out that Maple isn't just the town courier, she's also the town cartographer, and made me a map to find my way around. The great thing is that this map shows where all of the buildings and townsfolk are right from the get-go, which is a recent change that I love in new cozy games. I also had a little zoom out because I know from the trailer that we're going to expand beyond the town as we earn more money, but wow, I was not expecting the map to be this big. There is so much to explore and I can't wait to do it. Then it was time for Maple to head off, and Addy had to submit my shop paperwork, so he suggested I head to the meadows to have a little look around and collect some resources. The meadows were this big, open, grassy plain, and while I didn't have any tools yet, I could search debris piles for resources and pick up logs and stones that were scattered around the area. Before long, I was heading back to meet Addy in the plaza, and he started by teaching me all about inspiration and how you unlock new recipes. There are 7 different disciplines, and each one has unique crafting recipes, all of which you need to unlock to create. From carpentry to cooking or gardening, there are lots of cool items here that I can sell, and they're all themed for the game, and given silly names, which of course makes them even better. As I had 100 inspiration, I decided to buy 2 recipes from the carpentry section. A rump rest, or a stool, and a forget-me-not frame. Then Addy performed an official, but unofficial, ceremony to declare me the owner of the shop and grant me the keys. But first, I'd need to name it. I went for cozy crafts, and then it was back inside to start getting ready for opening. Step 1 was to use my freshly collected resources to craft some items that I could sell. So I created one of each of my new recipes, and then Addy taught me how to display them. I also needed to set my prices, and then it was finally time to throw open the doors and invite in my customers. My first customer was Maple, who Addy proceeded to insult, not the best way to treat new customers, but she headed into the shop followed closely by the mayor. After pacing around the display benches a few times, they both decided to pick up an item. The mayor bought his outright while Maple wanted to negotiate a little, and so began the haggling tutorial. This is probably my least favourite part of the game, and you'll see why a little bit later. But essentially the margins for haggling are very, very slim. Almost to the point where I'm not sure if it's worth it. If I could turn this off, I would. The next morning I woke up to another knock on my door, and Addy was waiting for me again with some very exciting news. Maple had spotted a boat coming our way, which meant we were going to get new visitors to Amber Isle. We rushed straight to the dock and met a cute dinosaur dressed in a sailor's outfit. They explained that their passenger had heard all about a basket and insisted that they come over here. A new customer. I'd need to gather some new resources to craft some items for her, which is when Addy learned that I had just been picking rubbish up off the floor. They gifted me an Orb Corp welcome pack full of tools that I could use to easily and efficiently gather resources, which is immediately what I set out to do. The mess of the meadows was no match for me, and I'd soon smashed all the rocks and chopped up all of the tree stumps that were available. While exploring though, I heard a cry for help, and soon found a dinosaur trapped behind a wall of brambles. Fortunately, my new company-provided sickle made quick work of them, and I was able to free the trapped dinosaur. Their name was Nellie, and they were the visitor from the boat. I introduced myself as Ellie, the shopkeeper, and they promised to stop by later. So naturally, I went straight home after gathering a few more resources. Addie met me back at the shop and I received 150 inspiration for saving the visitor, which meant it was time to unlock a new recipe. This time I went for the Monstera Mister and crafted it along with a few other supplies to sell in my shop. Before long, I had thrown open my doors to welcome in my customers for today, who immediately started beefing. Okay, it was a bug, but it was actually the first bug I'd encountered, which was quite impressive. After I separated them with a growl of "take it outside," they decided to be good customers and buy some supplies. Nellie stopped by the counter to make a special request for a wood item and asked if I had any recommendations. Luckily, I still had a rump rest on display, so I quickly sold her that, and then it was time to haggle again. The back and forth went on a little while before Nellie left as a happy customer, and Addie popped up on the other side of the counter. They wanted to place a custom order of 1 wooden plank, and would be back to collect it in 2 days' time. With that ordered, they took me outside and taught me how to repair items. The town had a lot of spots that needed some attention, which I'd need to repair over time, starting with this outdoor crafting bench that I could craft without going inside. We were just wrapping up when Maple appeared to ensure I took my mandated company break. Really, she just wanted to hang out and took me to the meadows for a little chill session. This was another neat feature where you can collect resources together and it boosts your friendship. She also gave me some extra pocket space as a gift before we called it a day. On day 3, it was time to learn all about shop ranking and decorating. There weren't a lot of decoration options to start with, but at least I could get rid of the dirt floor and the half-plastered walls. Sadly though, changing up my wall and floor wasn't enough to rank me up. I also needed to place some furniture, but then I reached shop level 2, which unlocked even more decorations. Of course, they looked better than the ones I just spent all of my money on, so I bought them too and created the cutest new store. Now I just needed to open it for the day. With that came a brand new mechanic: cleaning. Now when customers came into the store, they'd make a mess of the place, and I'd need to clean up after them to keep the cleanliness score up. If it dropped too low, then they'd get impatient and become more likely to leave without buying anything. Before long, I was introduced to another new mechanic as well, thanks to Coral. As well as selling items to customers, you can also buy items from customers, which means haggling once again. It didn't take too long, thankfully, and then it was time to head to Starfall Meadow to meet Addie. They showed me to a broken down bridge and suggested that we try fixing it up so that we can get to the meadow easier. It took only 100 pieces of amber and it looked great. Before I could head back into town, I needed to collect some more resources, which was a little difficult because I'd already foraged almost everything on the meadow. I eventually made it back to the store in time for another lesson. Addie taught me how to add more display units to the store so that I could showcase more items to sell. Then it was time to restock and open the shop for the day. Addie showed up to collect his order of wooden planks, and then Maple stopped by to let me know she had a letter from Addie for me. I need to check my mailbox to get it though, so I went straight out there. They'd gotten a night permit for me so I could explore the meadow at night, which was fortunate as Coral was standing nearby and said they'd lost a blue ankylosaurus. Naturally, I was the perfect candidate to find them, so I ran all over the meadow in search. Chester had gotten so distracted searching for ore that they'd lost track of time and quickly sprinted to get their boat before it left without them. I was also getting used to waking up to Addie's knocks on my door, but today he was knocking on my door to let me know that he wouldn't be knocking on my door again. Say that 3 times fast. I'd officially learned all that he could teach me. That was the end of the tutorial, but there was still that pesky task of collecting 20,000 amber to prove to the mayor that I could run this shop. Which is how I spent my entire day. I took custom orders, haggled with customers, and recommended items for everyone. I was also able to unlock so many new crafting recipes like these definitely not Crayola crayons and this cute Triceratops highlighter. But it got to nighttime and I hadn't seen Addie yet, and he'd promised to check in on me. So I rushed by his house, and after going into the wrong room, I finally found him snoring away and having a nightmare about a hole punch. He was really pushing himself too hard, trying to prove himself and earn his saw name, and I promised to keep an eye on him in the future, and told him that we were best friends. On day 5, I spent the morning collecting resources and unlocked a muddy mask recipe before opening the store for the day, which is basically all I did for the day. Then on day 6, I decided to spend some of my hardened amber to fix the rundown mine. I was really excited to explore it, but it turned out that this was just a decoration feature and not actually a mine entrance. I was heartbroken. That was 1,500 amber down the drain, and now I wasn't sure I'd hit the 20,000 target before the end of day 7. So it was time to get to work and open my store for the day. I started by setting aside the crafted items I needed for my custom orders before opening up. Then day 7 dawned and I immediately opened up my store. I sold Chester his custom rump rest, and then Nellie showed up to collect her custom order as well. And finally the mayor sold me some paper. I was so close to reaching the goal, and I did it. Addie and Maple showed up as I was closing up and said they'd seen Mayor Clawsworth, who was not happy. He'd heard that I'd managed to turn Cozy Crafts around, and he respected my grit? Of course, we all celebrated, but the mayor was still not happy. He said he would sign over ownership of the shop to me, except that it had been returned to the Archipelago Council when they fell behind on repayments. To truly own it, I would need to pay back 500,000 amber, which was a lot of money, and he wanted to see me spending money on rebuilding Amber Isle as well. It sounded like a lot of hard work, considering I was helping to put their town back on the map. But that wasn't the only surprise, because then Maple called Mayor Clawsworth Dad. That was a shocking revelation, despite the apparent family resemblance. I'm not seeing it. I decided to spend the rest of the day blowing all of the money I'd earned by repairing different spots around town. Like this bench, this cute little cubbyhole, I'm not really sure what it is, and whatever this is as well, and this final location too. I wasn't really sure what I was doing, but I'd repaired some things which seemed like a good place to call it a day and bring this video to an end. And that was my first week in Amber Isle. I hope you enjoyed this little overview, and if you did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more cozy gaming content. Maybe I'll even post some more Amber Isle videos. I have been really enjoying it. Let me know down in the comments if you're going to check it out when it releases, and again, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye!